The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer.
Yeah. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah. Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, kind of a little bit under the weather. So I'm so happy that we got Paula here hosting the show. And we got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way today. As you know, we are celebrating Black History Month, the whole month of February. And we got this guest that's doing so many great things out there. And I tell you, I'm excited, Paula. I'm excited to have this young lady on the show.
Oh, she is a mover and a shaker, JC. I've known her for quite a while, and she has not slowed down at all, and I don't think she's going to. I think she's sort of just getting started.
I'm looking at her bio, and Michelle, she might be joining us later. But it's so many things that this young lady is doing. And I mean, she's changing lives as well. Mm-hmm. And also, bring talent out a lot of folks. And I tell you, I'm excited, and we're going to have her tell us all about what she's doing and some of the things that she is promoting. But just looking at her bio, actor, singer, and so many other great things. I'm just so happy to have her, Paula.
Yeah, she is pretty amazing. And she has done her own podcast in the past. She has got other projects, interview type projects going on. One right now called Black Voices Heard. So there are a lot of questions we have for Malynda Hale, because she, as I say, is doing so many things. And on top of all that, she is the mother of a 5-year-old and pretty much a newborn, maybe 6 months, I think, her other baby. And for a lot of us, that was full-time work, but she adds on to that a million other things because she's a powerhouse. She's just really a powerhouse. And I knew that she would bring something very special to our show today, because her work is all about helping Black voices be heard. And, you know, my specialty is grief and loss and life transitions. And I know you've had on a lot of special shows already here on Black History Month, but we know that the history of Black people, particularly in America, has included a lot of grief. And Malynda is one of those sparkling bridges to help people to get to the other side of that grief.
So I'm excited. I'm going to say a little bit about Malynda. Malynda Hale is a multi-hyper content creator in Los Angeles. She is an award-winning actress, singer who utilized her voice through activism and digital media. Most recently, she starred in the feature film Bull Street. Oh, I'm excited to hear about that. Mm-hmm. And she's been on CNN, ABC, Roland Morton Show, and a lot of other great things. I tell you what, why don't we have her tell us all about what you're doing? Welcome to the show, Malynda.
That's always
How are you? Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Just like I said, it's an absolute pleasure having you on here, and I'm excited to get a better understanding of all the great things that you're doing. I'll start with the first question. Can you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit more about you, where you grew up, what made you click, why you're so excited about what you're doing?
Of course. So I grew up in Southern California. I'm a California girl at heart. I grew up singing in church and doing a lot of musical theater, doing a lot of performing, dancing, acting. I was involved in all of those things. And I always had a passion for just performing. And so that's what I ended up doing and going to college for. And post-college is really when I started to get also involved in doing more activism and advocacy. Started with becoming a vegan. I've been a vegan for 20 years and caring about animal rights, and then moving into more social justice and climate change and things like that. So I've just always kind of had that kind of service heart and wanting to help others, whether it's through the arts or just through any form of activism and advocacy. And that's just kind of what's fueled me in my life and my career trajectory over the last, however many years.
You know, Malynda, a lot of performers are pretty much in possession of huge egos. Mm-hmm. And, the performing piece is all they really care about. But there's more to you, because you even use your performance abilities to speak out about these different things that you're focused on, that you're interested in. Mm-hmm. What influenced you most? Was it family? Was it church? Was it the situation that was going on, the circumstances when you were growing up?
That's a great question. I think it's a kind of a combination of all of the above, really. I think my upbringing influenced me, and knowing my parents' story and their history. I think having traveled and lived in different places outside of my hometown really played a part in that as well. And then, of course, just watching world events and seeing things change as I've gotten older. So I've been really fueled by different variables in my life, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And, I might as well say this right now. Malynda has been a dear friend of my daughter's for many years.
Yes.
And didn't you two originally meet when you were singing for her Princess Party business?
Well, so actually, I ended up sing for her Princess Party Business, but how we met, which I think is very funny to say, we met via Craigslist. Like, oh, I know. It's very funny to say because it's like, how do you become best friends with someone that you meet on Craigslist? But I remember I was looking for a sublet in New York and she was leaving for the summer to go work in Massachusetts, I believe. And it just kind of worked out. We clicked. She trusted me to take over her apartment. And then we've just been friends ever since. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that part of the story. That's great. That's great. But you're wanting to help humanity, I think, is a big part of your personality. And I'm not sure, JC, if we're going to have to go to break soon. Whether
we got about 4 minutes before the break.
Oh, good. All right. So, you mentioned your parents' story. Maybe tell us a little bit about that, Malynda, because obviously it really influenced you.
Absolutely. So my mom, I'll start with her. She is an educator. She's the first person in her family to go to college, and she also got her master's degree. And so education was something that she really imparted on me and my sister growing up because it was something that was important for her because she was the first in her family to get education. She grew up first in Shreveport, Louisiana, and then they moved to Los Angeles. Now with my dad, he grew up on a plantation in Mississippi. He was a son of a sharecropper. And, he moved to Santa Barbara on his own, started working as a dishwasher at UC Santa Barbara, and he worked his way up to being the head of facilities management at UC Santa Barbara. So their stories really inspired me because they, grew up in the Jim Crow era with a lot of racism, with segregation. My mom remembers being bused into a school when they first desegregated. And so I was very inspired just by what they've overcome in order to give their daughters the best life possible. So not only am I inspired by that as a parent, but also just in my advocacy and social justice, knowing that I have parents that have a story that needs to be told and that people need to realize also wasn't that long ago, that we're still trying to make changes. And these are people that are very much still alive, very much still remember everything that happened, and unfortunately are seeing some echoes of history repeating itself.
It's interesting. I'm 74 this year, and I was just saying to someone the other day, wow, in my lifetime, I have seen Black people not allowed to use the same restroom or drink out of the drinking out. Rosa Parks and all of that happened. Martin Luther King. I mean, there has been so much just in my lifetime, such big change. There was a time, is it Jackie Robinson, the baseball player?
Yeah.
Who was originally they didn't want to bring him in. And I mean, now we laugh because, it's very clear to me who does the best when it comes to sports. I don't know how we're even on the field, but to think there was a time when people did not allow everyone to do what they did best, it depended on the color of your skin. And so looking at Black History Month, wow, what a lot of amazing history has happened just in our lifetimes.
Absolutely. And it's so important. And that's one of the things that I worry about, with education being taken away and reading not really being encouraged, is that there's so many stories that we don't know and that aren't documented. So I just really encourage people to consume as much as you possibly can, because you never know where it will be in 10, 15 years. And I want to make sure that my daughters grow up knowing true history and knowing all of these incredible innovators that people have tried to erase the history of.
Yeah, beautiful.
We're going to take a station break, but this is so interesting. I'll tell you what, whichever platform that you're watching this on, was it E360 TV, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or over 80 other platforms, welcome to the show. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do, just go to the platform in the comments area, ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. Come on.
And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and as you see, Paula Shaw has done it again. She done brought another absolutely fantastic guest on here, and what we're talking about right now is voices. Sing your song. It's a title. Sing your song and let your voice be heard. And we got Malynda Hale here, who's telling us a lot of great things here. And I tell you what, if you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the comments on whichever platform that you're watching this on. Ask any questions that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. Malynda, in what ways do you believe Black voices continue to be marginalized? And what strategies can be used to amplify them effectively?
Oh gosh, what a question. I think we've never really gotten to a point, I feel personally, where Black people have actually had closure for what has happened to them in this country. And I think we're so focused on trying to move forward, but we're not really listening to the residual pain that is still there from the past, right? So I think that until we get to a point where people are actually listening to Black people and understanding that from slavery until now, how it has had a negative impact on our community, we're never really going to be able to make progress to move forward. So and that's one of the things that I do with the project that I started called Black Voices Heard Project, is really talking to Black Americans about their experience of being Black in America and what they would want to see. Someone posted the other day that they didn't know what the 40 Acres and a Mule reference was from Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance. And that was so interesting to me, because that is something that I've always known, that was a promise made to slaves after slavery ended, and something that they never got. So Black people were never able to get that generational wealth that they could build on for their families. And so I think if we start listening to what the needs of the community are and figuring out ways to do that in 2025, I think we'll start to be able to see some significant progress.
You mentioned community a couple of times in that. How can allies and community create spaces where Black voices are not only heard, but also valued and acted upon?
I think, well, again, it goes back to listening. I think a lot of people need to listen more and talk less. I think that's a huge thing that we have an issue with, with social media and everything. I get everybody's voice wants to be heard, but we need to listen when it's our time to listen, and then we talk when it's our time to talk. So I think giving the proper space just to hear stories and hearing the needs is super, super important. I think beyond that, if we don't listen first, then we'll never know what we're supposed to do next. But that is the first step.
You know what I love about that? As a therapist, I know that what's really important for connecting people is heart, so when you hear somebody's story, you start caring about them in a different way.
Yeah.
Because the heart becomes involved. It's not just a head thing. It's not just an exchange of data. And that connection, I think, is huge in trying to open the minds of others. Because, Malynda, I hear people say things like, well, I didn't do it.
Right.
I wasn't around then. Why should I be made to feel guilty? Why should I pay reparations or any of that stuff?
Right.
I'm sure you've heard that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of the problem is they're not connected to the story, to the heart, to the fact that we're talking about other humans.
Yes, absolutely. And it's all about empathy. That's really what it comes down to. One of my favorite movies, I just watched this on a plane when I was flying to Poland a couple of weeks ago. I watched A Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson, Matthew McConaughey. And one of the things I love about that movie is that at the end monologue, when Matthew McConaughey is detailing all of the horrible things that happened to Samuel L. Jackson's daughter, and then says, now imagine if she were white. That right there is that empathy where you have to be able to put yourself in someone else's position to fully understand. And you have to think about it. How would I feel if systemically my community was oppressed, was kept from drinking out of water fountains, was kept from going to schools, was kept from owning land, was kept from being allowed to read, write, or be on a bus, then mass incarceration, then redline. You go through this entire list of things and think, well, how would I feel today knowing that that is what my community has been through, and what would that do to me? So I think if people actually take the time to think about that and say, okay, I can understand why the Black community feels the way that they do, and why they feel they are owed something to kind of have closure for what has happened to them.
Yes.
How can I be a part of the solution rather than, continuing to feel the problem?
And there's something I learned not so long ago from a friend of mine who is a genetic researcher. And there's an aspect, a field of genetics called epigenetics. And what epigenetics teaches us is that we don't just inherit the way we look from our ancestors. We inherit the genetic signatures of how they responded to life.
Yeah.
So if we're looking from a Black perspective, even though you, as Malynda Hale, have never known what it's like to be a slave,
right,
over the years, and century after century, you have inherited the genetic signatures of what that was like and how you responded to it.
Yeah.
And I have inherited from the other side.
Absolutely. Trauma gets passed down. It really does.
Yes.
And I think people don't realize that. Yeah. Thank you for
so
sharing
true.
that. It's so important.
And, I think getting back to what I was saying about the heart connection stuff, I think that's the key.
Yeah.
We have to find a way, whether it's through music, through acting, all of the different things you do, activism, education. We have to find a way to help everybody not only see someone else's story, but get the story. What? Like, get it on a heart level, get it on a human level, to develop that empathy and that compassion that you talk about.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. It's all about the heart, all about the empathy. Yeah.
Yes. And you are doing a ton, because I think one of the most powerful ways we connect in that heart level is through music.
Yes.
I remember a music video you did that was quite powerful that I saw a while back. And it was all about like presenting the position of Black people, what the experience has been, the impact of that. And so how do you feel? I mean, Is your music what you feel is a really important piece in bringing your message forward?
It absolutely is. I mean, we always say that music is a universal language. There's never a song that you can't find to express an emotion that you're having. If you're
Yeah.
cleaning around the house, if you're sad, if you had a breakup, there's always a song for everything, right? So
Yes.
I think if we can use music in regards to social messages to get people to understand somebody else's perspective or their point of view or their walk of life, I think
Mhm.
it's one of the best ways. The song that you were specifically talking about, it's a song I called "We Run," and I wrote it after there had been multiple cases of Black lives being lost due to police brutality, and I wrote it
Yes.
just from my perspective of, we're running from this epidemic, so to speak, but we don't really know why we are running. Like, why is this
Mhm.
consistently a thing for us? So yeah, that song is called "We Run," and I released that a few years ago. Yeah, and it's still very dear to my heart.
Yeah. I'm
What?
sorry, JC, did I interrupt you?
Well, I was just listening, and what do you see as the most pressing issue Black educating activists should prioritize in order to, point out certain things and make things better?
I love this question because I just learned a lot on this trip that I went on, and I got to sit down with John Hope Bryant. I don't know if you know who he is, but it's financial literacy. Honestly, I think that is one of the most important things that we should be encouraging the Black community to just learn about, because we were denied natural generational wealth, not being given land and all of that. Figuring out where to put your money now so that you can create generational wealth for your family, to me, is one of the most important things that we can do. So I
Mhm.
think for people, pushing with activists, whatever message you're pushing towards for the Black community, I think financial literacy is one of the number one things that we should be focusing on.
But
That's interesting.
how do it's in in the Black communities, sometimes we don't want to put our money. We think that we know better than the
Of course.
advisors. What advice would you give to some of the listeners that are listening to this right now? Because that is a major issue, and that's why wealth does not follow us that often, because we do not want to reach out and get the education or
Yeah.
invest our money in
Yeah.
other things.
I think we are so focused on the immediate and not the future. And I think that we need to start changing that mindset, that the future is more important than the immediate. And I think that that's what will push people to hopefully consider, taking a financial literacy course, or reading a book about financial literacy, because your future is what is important. You want to be able to have your rainy day fund or have your savings or whatever, because you never know what could happen in the moment. If you're okay, then stay okay, but focus on the future, right? So I just think that we just need to shift mindsets in that sense. It is hard to convince people sometimes. I get that, but I think that is the best advice I can get, is that your future is more important than the immediate right now.
Boy, that's huge. I can really see how, talk about the epigenetics we were just discussing. When you're just trying to get through the day and have enough to
Absolutely.
eat, when does your head ever go to wealth for the future?
Yeah,
It
it's
wasn't
hard.
even like a reality,
Yeah,
right?
it's hard. It's absolutely hard. And I obviously I sympathize and empathize with people that feel that way. But if we can push that mindset, I think it would change for a lot of people.
Absolutely. I think that's so huge. JC, I don't know how long we have
Well,
before
we can
break.
take a break. We can take a break now.
Okay, good. Well, when we come back, I really want Malynda to share with us about this trip she just went on to Poland, because it's pretty exciting.
Oh, absolutely. And you're right with that. Is we need to focus on the future. I'm talking about having things for another rainy day. And I tell
Yeah.
you, if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching this on, comments portion, and ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Doctor James JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
In this life you are gonna grow, but there's things in this world that you gotta know. To be the best that you can be, you wanna grow real big into a strong tree. To be who you're created to be, the one who's gonna leave a legacy is you. But you got to have these 4 C's. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. It's the 4 C's. Gotta have these, oh yeah. It's the 4 C's.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
Let's go. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James JC Cooley. All right.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And just in case you're just not tuning in, what we're talking about is sing your song and let your voice be heard. And we got Malynda Hale here, just telling us a lot of great things that she's doing. Of course, we got the co-host, Paula Shaw, and I tell you, we're just sitting back, talking and having fun and discussing some of the things because this is Black History Month. And a lot of things that Malynda is saying, especially about the promise of the 40 acres and a mule, never happened. And a lot of other things are, in my opinion, is not happening as well. And just with the elimination of DEI, that's going to be a major issue in a lot of the communities. So I'm very interested to see what your thoughts are on that one, Malynda.
Whew. Well, I've been talking about DEI a lot because there's a clear lack of knowledge on what it actually is and what it is supposed to be for. I just want to say first and foremost, DEI was never created to bring forth candidates for anything that were not qualified. It was always to find the most qualified, but it was to give the opportunity to people that were traditionally left out of the opportunities to be able to be considered for certain positions. I gave the example on my social media of Ketanji Brown Jackson. she was technically, by definition, a DEI hire. She diversified the court. She was given the equitable opportunity to apply for the position to be a judge and considered, and she was included because she's a Black woman and that representation is not on the court. That covers DEI. And if you look at her qualifications, she's actually the most qualified Supreme Court justice on the bench at this moment. So I think people have a very strong misunderstanding of what DEI is and the purpose of it. I think people also tend to think, because there is some implicit bias that is going on within them, that it was only made to benefit Black people. DEI is made to benefit women. It is made to benefit people with disabilities. It is made to benefit any person of color, anyone that is traditionally left out of the conversations or left out of opportunities. So DEI is a very beautiful thing. And statistics and studies have shown that all workplaces thrive when they have a DEI initiative and when they have diversity, when they have equity, when they have inclusion, and a wide variety of representation of different walks of life, whether it be race, whether it be gender, whether it be religion, whether it be socioeconomic status. And it makes morale better because it also makes people better to be around people not like you, because you are being exposed to different walks of life, and it is encouraging empathy and critical thinking. I could go on about this forever, but I am clearly a huge advocate for DEI. I've taught DEI courses at the college level for different Fortune 500 companies I've done DEI workshops with. And it is always something that adds a value, and it is a merit-based initiative. And I just want to make sure that we're correcting the misconceptions of DEI, because it was always made to be something to find the most qualified people, but that were traditionally held back or not included because of their marginalization status.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Kind of broke down what DEI is and what DEI isn't, because I think some people think it's, giving unqualified people positions, and that is not what it is. But unless you do the research yourself, instead of hearing word on the street, or this person said this on social media or on TV, do the research yourself and find out what it truly is. I'm glad you clarified that, Malynda.
Yeah, it's very important. It's very important. And a lot of people benefit from it. It's not just something that benefits Black people, which I think, unfortunately, that's what people have. And they have this visceral reaction to it. But it is meant to benefit many people. You know, we have the ADA law that is for people with disabilities, but we wouldn't have the ADA if it weren't for DEI. So I think people need to understand, you know, how many positive things that DEI really brings forth. And it really, why would you be against diversity, equity, or inclusion? You know, and I saw this meme the other day that said, if people are against DEI, they need to say, I'm against diversity, equity, inclusion. You need to say the full letters, the full words, and then see how that sounds if you say it out.
You know, Malynda, I have heard you as a guest commentator on CNN, and I've heard you talking about the relationship between Jews and Black people, and I think it's pretty fascinating. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So this is actually part of the trip that I went on with a couple of weeks ago to Poland. I'm very good friends with Van Jones, who's a CNN commentator, and he invited me to go to, I love him. He's an amazing human being. He invited me to go to Poland with him and a few other Black leaders, including John Hope Bryant, Robert F. Smith, Victory Boyd, and Pastor Carl Day, to be a part of a delegation to go to support for the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. Now, Van and I we're both a part of BGAE, which is the Black Jewish Entertainment Alliance, and we're also part of an organization that he started called Exodus, which is putting together Black leaders and Jewish leaders, because historically, the Black community and the Jewish community have always been allies. NAACP would not exist were it not for Black leaders and Jewish leaders. You know, civil rights movement was led by Black leaders and Jewish people by their side. There are so many other initiatives. There's the Urban League would not have been started without Black people and Jewish people. So historically, we have always been by each other's sides with, you know, different histories, but histories that I think would create a natural empathy, I would say, in terms of discrimination, in terms of oppression, in terms of being hated for who you are and who you were born as. Because I think a lot of people also think that being Jewish is just a religion, but it is an ethnicity as well. So that is one of the things that we have been working on, is really bringing our communities back together, because there has been a lot of division between the communities, and that is, of course, by design. I think, we always have to think about who division serves. A lot of us spend time fighting each other rather than fighting the people that are pinning us against each other. And we see that a lot on social media. So it's really just kind of going back to the roots of a historical alliance that really, if brought together once again, could be very, very powerful in combating a lot of hate and fascism and just a lot of the horrible things that we don't want to see in the world anymore.
Wow. And what a wonderful opportunity for you to go on that trip to Poland, and how proud of you I am.
Oh, thank you.
You were chosen to go with a delegation like that. It was such a beautiful mission.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an honor. Absolutely. It was very, very heartwarming and intense and heartbreaking at the same time. And I learned a lot, specifically just about the Holocaust, which I know a lot of people don't know about. And it did bring on a level of sadness, I think, for my community as well, because we don't have the ability to really memorialize and put into museums in the same way that they do, because our history, it goes so far back. It really, there's a point where it stops for the Black community in terms of what we know about our heritage and where we come from. And that's what made me very sad, realizing that the Jewish community is able to memorialize, and they have the names of everybody, unfortunately, that was lost, and they have ways to commemorate, and just, we don't have that. We really never got that. And that's another reason why I think closure is going to take a very long time, because we don't have those things saved. We have a certain amount of journals and recounts, but we don't have everything. So yeah.
How can schools and institutions, I mean, you just mentioned that we don't have a lot of these things, because pretty much in our communities, it's not really pushed out there, from an education perspective, where our youth and our young adults and our communities as a whole are not engaged in making sure that the things that we need to be educating ourselves on is actually pushed out there in the communities and in our institution. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that we can't fully rely on schools, unfortunately, to teach us what we need to know. But people also have to be curious. They have to want to learn on their own. And it's trying to figure out ways to make people want to have a thirst for knowledge again, and wanting to go to a library and to read and like get off of a computer. I mean, there's nothing beats like a hard copy of a book. Nothing beats a hard copy of a book, right? And so I think, I talked about financial literacy, just literacy in general should be, promoted. And that's one of the things I will always thank my mother for, is that every summer when I wanted to be out playing, I had to be a part of the library summer reading program, and I had to read certain amount of books every summer. But then I was like, oh, we get a pizza party at the end, so that's fine, But I feel like those things aren't really happening anymore, or is encouraged anymore, because we have this digital age, which is fine. And I think there are obviously pluses and minuses to the digital age, but I think just promoting reading and learning is such a huge part. So it has to be things done at home, has to be things done on your own and outside of the school, because we are unfortunately limited in what our education system and curriculum is allowing to teach, especially now with so many rollbacks and things happening. So we just have to make sure that we're pushing literacy in the home, and knowing that critical thinking and knowledge is kind of the best weapon and tool that you can have as you get older.
Hold it. We're going to take a station break, but I like how you just put that together, because I think it have to be pushed at home. And as you see, your product, your mother pushing education, making you go to these summer classes. And all that. I tell you, we're going to take a station break. We're going to come back. We're going to pick it up. And if you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the comments on whichever platform you're watching us on. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. Come on.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and the guest here, Malynda Hale. It's educated. I mean, I can sit back and listen to her talk all day. I mean,
Yes.
she knows exactly what she's talking about, and she put it out there eloquently that everybody understands exactly what she's saying. And that's how it's got to be done. And I believe education is so important, not just academically, I mean, which is majorly important, but in life and understanding the things that we need to be working on. I'm talking about us, all people, not just Black people, but everybody as a whole. And you were telling about that trip to Poland.
Yeah.
Van Jones, I mean, he's one of my favorites, so, but getting together and understanding that history, our history, Black people, Black history, Jewish history, white history, I mean, all history, everything is important, shaping one concept and thoughts. And that's going to shape the offsprings because they're watching everything that we do. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I completely agree. I think, with children specifically, they emulate what they see and they emulate what they know. And it is our job to to raise the next generation of thought leaders and trailblazers and activists and creators and whoever's going to make a difference. And so, one, we have to be cognizant of what we take part in. I want my daughter to see me doing great things. Now, I also have to be careful because I think she thinks that her life is a little bit more special than it is. I mean, like the other day I took her and she got to meet Cynthia Erivo, who played Elphaba in Wicked, and I'm like, don't get used to this. This isn't normal. Like, this is really special thing. So I gotta keep her at bay a little bit. But I think it is important, when it comes to challenging them and sharing, truth with them. I again, encouraging reading, encouraging getting outside and just exploring. I think that those are great things to be encouraging for people that have kids and young kids, especially because they're going to follow what you do. So just being that example is so important, and something that I'm very blessed that I had an incredible example with my mom and my dad. And now I'm just trying to pay that forward with my kids as well.
One of the things I love so much about your work, Malynda, and the way you do it is you come from this place. I don't want to sound corny, but it's almost like you come from love rather than anger. Mm-hmm. You're talking about issues a lot of people get very angry about. And I think when people feel they're being yelled at by an angry person, they turn off.
Yes.
They aren't listening as well. It's so beautiful that you, through music, through acting, through your words, through your blogs, through your podcast, through the Black Voices Heard project, you are educating others about what's real in the life of Black people. Mm-hmm. Without screaming at them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And listen, anger is very warranted emotion, especially during these times. And so I don't fault people if anger is their default, because it is completely understandable. I just know what my end goal is, I believe, and I know that I don't like being yelled at. So I don't want to yell at somebody else, right? So I'm very much a treat people the way you want them to treat you. So I may have a tone, I may be a little terse. It's very much the mom in me. And sometimes I am talking to adults like I am their mom, because sometimes we have to do that to get them to listen. But I never go the route of yelling, demeaning, dehumanizing, because you're not going to get anywhere. I think the phrase is like, catch more flies with honey or something like that, right? Nice. So that is more of an effective approach I've found in the work that I do. And trying to also listen, again, like I said, listen more and talk less. I think it's something that a lot of people, an advice that a lot of people should take, because when you listen, people need to listen to learn and not listen to respond. And I think that that's something that a lot of people do. They already have a prepared response. They aren't even really paying attention to what you're saying. They're just they're waiting to get their chance to speak. But if we listen more and then speak kindly, again, we'll make a lot of progress.
I like how you just said that, because I always talk about the 3L process: look, listen, and learn. Before you speak. Hey, I'm interested to find out some of the projects that you're working on, and let our viewers and listeners know about some of those things.
And also, Malynda, give them your website, because I think that's the best place to see everything she's doing and how to reach out to her and hear all of this.
Yes, so my website is a good landing page, melindahale.com, and you'll find my hashtag We Need to Talk, which is my blog that I have on Substack. You can subscribe to that. I also have the Black Voices Heard project, which is the project where I'm detailing and interviewing different Black Americans in just letting the world know what their story is about being in America. I'm also an actress and a singer, so I'm always posting different projects and films and songs that I'm doing there as well. And the best place to follow me is on Instagram, just at Malynda Hale as well.
So I saw that you wanted, I guess that was recent, Bull What was
Bull
the name?
Street. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I did that. I filmed it almost 2.5 years ago, and it was the first big lead role that I had, and it was starring opposite Loretta Devine, who is Black royalty, right? So yeah, the movie it had a limited theatrical release last year, and now it's coming back, and we're going to be going to streaming soon, I hope. But the film took place in Summerton, South Carolina. So I was in South Carolina in the summer for 6 weeks, dying in the heat. And it's a really beautiful story, actually, about acquiring generational wealth and land ownership. I don't want to give too much away because I do want people to see it if it's coming to their town. Just the history and lineage of a Black family trying to fight for land that they owned. And it was really just, the script was beautiful. Working with Loretta was just a dream, and the whole cast and crew was amazing. So if Bull Street comes to your town or whenever it's on streaming, please watch it, because it really is a beautiful film.
And people don't realize Loretta Devine was one of the original Dream Girls on Broadway.
She was.
Her, Cheryl Lee Ralph, and Jennifer Holliday.
Yeah. Loretta's had a career. I don't think people understand that woman works. I mean, we still text like at least once a week, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm doing this. I'm doing this." I'm like, "When are you going to sit down?" She never takes a break. That woman works so much, but she's just a joy. She's just as sweet as ever, one of the nicest human beings, and she was so welcoming and such a mentor to me now. Yeah.
We're down to the last 3 minutes of the show, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I would love to have you back on the show again if your schedule permits.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Sometime in March if you got time.
Great, we'd love that. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work.
Yeah, and I tell you, can you tell folks again your websites? Because I know I'm looking at the numbers of the viewers, and we got a lot of folks listening in. But they're afraid to ask questions.
No worries, of course. Yes. So my website is malindahale.com. And you can also find my Substack. Find me on Substack at Malynda Hale, and Instagram at Malynda Hale as well. Those are the main platforms that I use, Substack and Instagram. But it's all on my website, malindahale.com.
So closing.
I think we should mention to our listeners, she spells her name not the usual way. So
yes.
Searching Malynda,
I don't know if they're seeing it, but yes, it's Malyndahale. Malyndahale.
So take away both of you guys, you, Paula, and Malynda. Malynda, what is 30 seconds or less? What takeaways you want our viewers and listeners to get from this great conversation?
Read. Reading is so important. And if I could recommend a book, this book I read it last year, but I think everyone should read Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. It is a phenomenal book that will change your life.
Wow. Caste,
C-A-S-T-E, Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. And it's all about the origins of discrimination and how it came to be. And it's such a powerful book.
Caste. Paula, take away 30 seconds of this.
Oh my goodness. You know what? She said something that I said about my dad at his celebration of life. He led with kindness and appreciation. And I think that if you lead with kindness and appreciation, then you can educate, and then people will listen. And that was another important thing we heard today. Listen, really listen.
Wow. I want to thank Paula, always thanks. Malynda, thank you so much for taking time to come on the show. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on all the different platforms, and also every Sunday on K-Sky, AM 660 in Dallas, The Answer, and KCBQ, AM 1170, The Answer in San Diego. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life, and we'll see you then.